reasons why you are not retaining length or your hair is not growing. Well, our hair is always growing. So I don't want to call this video the reasons why your hair is not growing, because your hair is always growing. But you have to retain the length that goes out your scalp. Number 1, using heat all the time or straightening all the time. Now, there's some girls I know who straighten their hair every single time they wash their hair, every single time they do their hair. They are a straight natural. Yeah, that is gonna cause your hair to plateau. Your hair's gonna plateau. So when I say plateau, I mean, like, I'm not saying your hair won't get long. I'm not saying your hair won't grow if you straighten your hair all the time. It probably will, because I used to straighten my hair all the time too, like in high school and college, and my hair grew pretty long. But it will plateau. It will stop at a certain point. So my plateau was always mid-back length. It will stop like right when I got to the end of my bra strap. Once it got to the end of my bra strap, it would stop. I wouldn't say stop growing, but it would stop retaining length. And that's because I was overly heating up my hair, and it would get to it would tap out. You have to stop straightening your hair all the time and give your hair more nutrients, more moisture. Baby it, treat it like it's a baby and feed it. You can't starve it. You can't dry it out and starve it. Like, you have to moisturize your hair. You have to oil it up to keep it moisturized. Overheating your hair will cause your hair to stop growing or to stop retaining length. 2 is tight buns and ponytails. I actually don't wear buns or ponytails ever anymore. I used to wear ponytails and buns a lot, actually. Actually, that was like my go-to style when I was a kid. I always wore a ponytail with a braid, and my hair grew pretty long. My hair was pretty long when I was a child, but I always had breakage like all around my perimeter because I always pulled at it, and sometimes I'd have breakage in my crown because that's where my ponytails would sit. A lot of time they say, like, you have to switch up your ponytail. So like, if you've been wearing your hair in a high ponytail for a while, you might want to wear it low or wear it to the side, or like switch around your ponytail so it doesn't cause a lot of strain, as if you like have to wear a ponytail or you have to wear a bun. But I actually just completely just deleted ponytails and buns from my hair regimen completely. I don't think I've worn a ponytail in a couple years, like at least a couple years, and even then I wasn't even wearing them like that. I probably wore them like twice a year most, but yeah, I don't do ponytails or buns at all. I think the only time I would do a ponytail now is if I was doing, like, when my hair gets long, I'll probably do a low ponytail with a scrunchie, a very loose scrunchie, for like a pineapple or something. But that's not like what I mean. I mean like tight ponytails where you have to brush your hair and gel it up and all that, and then wrap it around your head to make a bun. Like, all that is not good. It causes a lot of strain on your edges. It also pulls at the crown, and a lot of people have sensitive crowns, and it can cause breakage here and a lot of breakage back here in your nape, and a lot of breakages on your edges if they're too tight and if you wear them for too long in the same spot. So yeah, cut it with the buns and the ponytails. Number 3, master your wash and goes or wear 2-strand twists. Basically, leave your hair alone. So that can mean a bunch of different things. For me, it's basically like these twists is my way of leaving my hair alone. I'm not in my hair. I'm not always touching it. I'm not always twirling it. Wash and goes are cool too, but sometimes I find myself twirling my ends a lot, which can cause breakage. I mean, it doesn't really cause breakage for me, but for some people it can. But I would say wash and goes are good. You have to master your wash and go. And when I say that, I mean like learn how to make your wash and go last for at least a week, so that you're not in your hair. You're not constantly redoing your wash and go or refreshing or redoing. Like, even if you're doing twist outs, if twist outs are your style, make it so that it lasts for at least a week, so that you're not constantly retwisting, constantly rebraiding, constantly like restyling. Like, you leave your hair alone for at least a week. You're not touching your hair for at least a week. You're not brushing or combing or detangling or whatever your hair for at least a week. So you're basically, it's a low manipulation style once it comes to that point where you've mastered your hairstyles and you don't have to do it so often. That can also mean protective styling with like weaves and stuff. So like, if you do a weave, or if you do a wig, or if you do braids or something like that, I mean, obviously I would say those kind of protective styles where you add hair, you gotta be careful with those, because they can pull on your edges, they can pull on your natural hair. The hair can be too rough. Like the plastic can be, especially if it's like cuticle hair, can be too rough on your hair. Sometimes the string from the sewing can be too rough on your hair. Sometimes the clips can be too rough on your hair. So you gotta be careful with those too. But if you're doing it safely and all that, those are also good, because you're not in your hair, you're not touching your hair. Like, for me, I think I'm about to put some braids in my hair because I am tired of the same styles. Like, I need to change, okay? So yeah, low manipulation is key. not always in your hair, not doing your hair, not brushing your hair every day. Doing that will cause your hair to split and break and all of that. And my main agenda when I get a trim, like for instance, my last trim was early in January, right? And my next trim is not until April. My goal is to do as little to my hair as possible in that 3-month range, because that means my hair is more likely to look exact. My ends are more likely to look more put together the next time it's my trim time, and I don't have to trim off as much. The more I do to my hair, the more I'm gonna have to trim off the next time my trim time comes, because I've overly stressed my hair out, if that makes sense. Number 4, relying on oils and not moisturizing. As you guys know, I sell a HairByPierre butter oil mix, and it's strictly butters and oils. So it's just it's basically a sealant product, so it allows you to lock in all your moisture, but you have to put moisture on first, meaning you have to at least wet your hair. Like water is a moisturizer, so you don't necessarily have to put a leave-in or something. It's just like extra moisture, but your hair has to be wet. You cannot put my product on dry hair, or you can't put oils in general and butters in general on dry hair. Your hair will continue to be dry. It will just be oily and greasy and whatever. It's not gonna actually do anything because you haven't put any moisture on your hair to moisturize your hair. The oil is what locks it in, because as you know, water evaporates, and if you don't put something on top of it like an oil that traps into your hair, the oil will evaporate, the water will evaporate, and your hair will dry out. So you have to use an oil to lock in that moisture. But obviously, if there's no moisture to begin with, then your hair is not going to be moisturized. The oil doesn't moisturize your hair. So make sure you guys moisturize your hair first. That means water, or using any type of product that has water as the first ingredient. That could be any kind of moisturizer or leave-in. If your hair is dry, your hair will get brittle and it will break. Number 5, skipping shampoos. Okay, so they say like no poo, or like the curly girl method. You're not supposed to use shampoo, you're supposed to just co-wash. Now, I don't believe in this, because I think no matter what, even if you don't use silicones, your hair there's gonna be buildup. There's gonna be buildup, because your hair is just gonna, like, if you're not really properly washing your hair. So like, for example, like, it's kind of that saying they say, like, okay, co-washing is kind of like putting lotion on a dirty body. That's literally what co-washing is. Or even putting water on a dirty body and then putting lotion on a dirty body. You still don't have all that built up gunk and bacteria and old oils that can get pulled off. For instance, like, your body naturally produces oil, right? So oil cannot come off unless you use a soap or some type of detergent to get that oil off. It will stay on, because why? It's repellent against water. So water gets on oil that's already on your body and will slick right off. And oil holds dirt, it holds bacteria, it holds all kinds of things. So that bacteria ain't going nowhere. It's sticking with the oil, it ain't going with the water. So you still have all that bacteria on your body, and then you're putting lotion on top of it. Like, ew, that's gross. That's pretty much kind of what co-washing is. Like, I get that, like, you know, you think people are co-washing their hair to keep their hair moisturized at all times, but if you're not getting rid of that, like, debris, that oil, that dirt off your scalp is not a healthy ground to grow hair, because now you're susceptible to fungus and different types of scalp issues and dandruff and all that stuff, and you don't want none of that stuff on your hair, because that can limit your hair growth as well, because hair needs a healthy environment to grow in. So yeah, shampoo that head, okay? Number 6, not deep conditioning. So early on in my healthy natural hair journey, I always deep conditioned. Well, I wouldn't even call it deep conditioning, but I used a deep conditioner, but I wouldn't send the dryer. I would literally slap in a deep conditioner, and then, like, I would wash my hair first, slap in a deep conditioner, and then put a shower cap on and use the rest of the steam from the shower while I would just continue to wash my body as my deep conditioner. And then I would actually leave it in, and that actually wasn't a good idea, but that's another story. But that wasn't effective. I have to sit under a hooded dryer for a minimum of, I would say, 30 to 45 minutes for the deep conditioner to really penetrate my hair. And ever since I've been doing that, my hair has been flourishing. So yes, you're not deep conditioning. And when I say deep conditioning, I don't mean just putting on a conditioner and calling it a day. I mean actually sitting under heat, so that the heat can open up your cuticles, so that the moisture can go into your hair. And then obviously when you rinse it out, it'll still be in your cuticles. It'll be stuck inside your hair shaft. because I would say most people say that deep conditioning will save their hair 9 times out of 10. Like, let's say if you do other things like you color your hair or you just use heat every so often, deep conditioning will save your hair from damage that you would have more of if you didn't deep condition. So you might as well deep condition. It's that extra step that means oh so much. Number 7, coloring your hair. Woo child, I've colored my hair at least 2 or 3 times in the past. 3 times, I think. Oh, wait, 4. I don't know. I've colored my hair quite a few times since I was young. I've bleached my hair. I've used sun-in. I dyed it black. Like, yeah, I've colored my hair quite a few times. And my hair don't like color at all. Whether it's dyeing it black or what. It doesn't like color at all. My hair totally repels. So now, what I've learned about color, because I did it enough to notice a pattern. My hair will be fine for like the first few months. It'll be acting normal. I'm like, okay, maybe I can rock a colored hairdo, and maybe I can do it, and I'll be good. No, by month 4, my hair starts acting a dang fool. Like, we breaking now. We breaking. It's over. We're breaking now. Bye. Like, that's literally what my hair does, and it's probably because of the new growth that comes in. It's now has a demarcation line, and it's a brittle point in my hair, and my hair now says, okay, bye, time to let go. So yeah, a lot of people will say like, oh, I colored my hair and my hair's fine, break, it's still healthy, it's still thick. Oh, what are you talking about? I could color my hair, it's fine. Well, there are people who color their hair and their hair is completely fine, but it always is a little damaged, but it's not damaged enough where it won't get long. I'm telling you, at some point, it may not act stupid now, but it will catch up to you. It will catch up to you, and your colored hair will act a dang fool, especially if you continue to color it on top of itself. It will act a dang fool. It will sneak up on you, and you'd be like, what the hell? Like, you won't even know what's going on. I promise. Stop coloring your hair. I promise. Once you stop coloring your hair, you will notice a humongous difference in the health, the integrity of your hair. It will completely baffle you. I promise you. Number 8, not trimming. People love to not trim their hair. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I understand on the surface level, not trimming hair, it seems like a good idea because you're like, okay, cutting it means my hair is shorter and I want to grow my hair longer. That's kind of counterintuitive. I'm not going to, yeah. Okay, so the hair naturally splits at the 3-month mark, sometimes sooner. Okay, naturally, all right? And no matter what you do, no matter how healthy your hair is, your hair naturally will begin to split after the 3-month mark, which is why I go ahead and just snip those ends off to get rid of them, because it's so little. It's like by the time the 3 months happens, it's starting to split. Just get rid of that, get rid of it. So it's like, you might as well get rid of it. It's so small, you are not going to miss that length. You might as well just do that then. That way, what is that? Let's say I cut a 1/4 inch every 3 months. A year, by the year mark, I've only trimmed off 1 inch. Now, some people who go a year without trimming their hair, they have to trim 2, 3, 4 inches off because their ends are so split because they spent all year not trimming their hair. You could have just easily just trimmed every 3 months and only had a trim, but in a year, it's only been 1 inch, and you're controlled. It's a controlled environment because now it's like you started off with a clean cut. So let's say it's a straight line. Every 3 months, you're just taking off the bare minimum just to maintain that straight line. By the year up, you still have your straight line, but you've only trimmed off 1 inch, and it's very controlled, so you know just the amount you're taking off every time, versus going a whole year not knowing how much you have to cut, having to cut 3, 4, 5 whatever inches, and then your ends are still kind of see-through because your hair has split so much and you're just trying to save length. Like, no guys, just go ahead and trim that end, trim your ends. And also too, not even just like for the sake of trimming, like brittle ends that have not been trimmed in a long time, your hair won't act right. You'll do a wash and go, your ends will look funky, they won't curl up right, you'll have single strand knots. When you comb through it, it'll get caught. You gotta sit there trying to detangle a knot out for hours or whatever because you haven't trimmed your ends. It's not retaining moisture, so your styles look funky. Like, save yourself the heartache and the trouble and trim your ends. Okay, trim them ends. Like, I don't understand. It's not worth keeping. It's not. It's like, oh, I'm gonna hold on to my man that treats me like, beats my, curses me out all the day, doesn't buy me anything, doesn't take me out nowhere for the sake, just so I can say I have a man, just so I can tell you I have a man. But he don't treat you right, girl. He don't treat you right. So it's like, why keep those ends for the sake of saying, oh, well, I got long hair? but they're thin and brittle and they about to fall off anyway. Like, no, like just trim them things off. It's not that serious. Like, it's hair, it will grow back, and actually it will look so much better. Just, I promise you, if you just mentally get out of that mindset of trimming is bad, you will see what I mean. I promise you. 9, too much protein. So I don't really do protein treatments like that because I have virgin hair. My hair is pretty healthy and strong on its own. Protein is more so for people who color their hair a lot, straighten their hair a lot, whatever. Now, I straighten my hair probably 4 times a year, so every 3 months. So during that time, I will do a very light protein treatment. It's not even really a protein treatment, it's more of like a protein deep condition. So I'm like adding strength and moisture at the same time. So right before I straighten my hair, I will do a protein pack that has protein in it, but it also has moisture in it, and it will strengthen my hair before I go to straighten it. And that I find is great. My hair loves that. So it keeps my hair strong while my hair is straight or while I'm straightening. Because I don't do too much else to my hair, there's no need for me to do some strong ass like Afro G, like 2-step protein treatment. Those are for people who have color, people who overly straighten their hair or have heat damage. Those are people who have pretty much damaged hair already. But if your hair is not that damaged, like your hair is good, overdoing the protein can really cause a lot of harm and actually damage your hair, because it will just make your hair dry and brittle and too hard and it'll snap. Number 10, not protecting your hair from fabrics. So that can mean like when you're sleeping, that can mean when you put your hair back when you're in the car, that can mean on a couch, that can mean when you finish washing. So when I say that, I mean, like, for instance, let's start with washing. You towel dry your hair with a towel. Do not do that. If you're gonna towel, if you feel like you gotta towel dry your hair, use a microfiber towel. Those will not strip your hair of all the water that's already in your hair, because you want to maintain that moisture. The microfiber will just take out like excess water, but will keep the moisture that you need in your hair to continue styling. I used to use a microfiber towel and those were helpful. I actually just don't use a towel at all anymore. I just literally will rinse my hair, finish rinsing it out, and I'll just shake my head, and then I will just go on into styling. Like, I will just go straight into styling. I usually, by parting my hair and sectioning it off, that kind of like keeps the water from dripping everywhere, and if it does drip, I'll just wipe my face. Because yeah, I don't want to use any type of like rubbing agent on my hair after I've washed it, so I don't use towels anymore. I used to, but yeah, I don't, even like regular towels, like I used to use those back in the day. They're not good for your hair. Don't use them. The fabric is, the rubbing and friction from the fabric can cause damage. Another thing is sleeping protection. So you have to sleep with either a satin pillowcase or a satin scarf. What I like to do is, when my hair is in twists, I will sleep with a satin bonnet. But when my hair is like in a wash and go, I will double it up and sleep with a satin scarf and then a satin bonnet. I used to sleep on satin pillowcases, and I actually still have satin pillowcases, but they don't go with the aesthetic of my room right now, so I don't sleep with them anymore. I just go ahead and just put a scarf on my head, because it's just, I don't know, it's just, I like my hair to stay put when I'm sleeping versus like just being out and free. And even though it's protected, I don't want my hair all over the place in my sleep, because you know, you can pull on it, and you know, you don't want to do none of that. You want to just keep it nice and still. So but any of those options are good. Also too, sometimes if I know I'm gonna be in the car for a really long time and I know I'm gonna put my head back, I will bring a scarf, like a satin scarf, with me and put it behind my headrest, and then that way my head is against a satin scarf versus the friction of the car seat, or even like on a couch. Like, most of the time when I'm sitting on someone's couch, or I'm sitting on my own couch or whatever, I will just go ahead and keep my bonnet on anyway and lean my head on. So, but if you don't have your bonnet with you, yeah, just have a satin, or just lean your hand like this so that you aren't, like, your hair and the fabric is not rubbing. Or sometimes if I don't have nothing and I don't feel like doing this, I will put my head down, but I will keep my head so still and I will not move, like, because I don't want the friction of that rubbing against the fabric. Even though I am putting it a little lightly on, it's not as bad as the constant, you know, rubbing of your head. So yeah, you want to protect your head from certain fabrics, specifically cotton. Number 11, being indecisive and not having a routine. Woo, I have this is something that me and my friend used to that we talk about hair a lot. We used to go through, we were so inconsistent with our hair, because I guess we weren't happy with our hair because it wasn't doing what we wanted, because she had color damage and I had heat damage, and we weren't at the point yet where we wanted to cut it off yet. So we were kind of just like, oh, what should we do? Should we do this? Should we do that? Oh, let's do this. Let's try this. Let's do that. All that wasn't good because we weren't being consistent with our hair. You have to be consistent. You have to have a routine. You can't flip-flop on your hair. You can't flip-flop your routine. So like, you can't say like, okay, let me just use cutting as an example because it's like, this is just from experience. Like, you can't say, oh, I'm gonna be 100% curly. I'm gonna straighten my hair. I'm gonna be 100% curly. And then you trim your hair curly and then you say, F it, I'm gonna straighten it next week. And then you straighten it next week. And then the following week your hair is all messed up. So then you decide to even it out because it's all messed up. And then, okay, you have even hair and then you go back curly, it's not even. You get mad, you cut off that uneven spot. Like, you can't flip-flop your hair. You can't flip-flop your routine. Like, you have to pick a routine, stick with that routine, and keep going. That's just like a trimming routine I'm explaining, just to give you an example. Like, you can't, like, if you have a trimming routine, stick to that same trimming routine. Otherwise, you will have issues with like growing your hair out long because you will be constantly like switching it up. So like my straight hair routine, my trimming routine right now is to trim my hair every 3 months straight. Same way, it's cut, blunt, straight, fine. When I go back curly, it may be like a little uneven because I have different elasticities and I have different shrinkage and stuff like that. But I don't think, oh, I gotta cut that off because it's not even. I gotta cut this off because, no, I leave it alone. I know it's even when it's straight and I know it's healthy. So I just leave that ish alone and I deal with it the next time I straighten and trim it up the next time. So you gotta stay consistent. And now it goes into the regimen. You can't be flipping around your regimen. You can't forget to wash your hair this week. You can't forget to deep condition that week. You can't just skip the leave-in conditioner, and you can't skip the oil this week. Like, you have to stay consistent. That means a wash, a deep condition, leave-in, an oil to sieve in the moisture, a styler to style your hair. Boom, done. Leave it alone for the week. Then you do it again the next week. And you can't skip weeks like, oh, I don't feel like washing my hair. My hair still looks good. I'm gonna just wait another week. Like, no, go ahead and wash your hair because your hair is used to that and needs the extra moisture because it's used to getting washed once a week. It's kind of like how your body, let's say, like, okay, you ever drink water, like, let's say you drink water every 4 hours. If you get lazy and decide, I don't feel like drinking water this hour, your body is gonna get parched. Your lips are gonna get dry. You're gonna feel weird and weak because your body has a timer and knows it's gonna receive water every 4 hours. Now, if you don't do that, then your body's gonna be like, what the hell? Like, where's my freaking water? And act a fool and be mad and maybe make you break out or maybe like make you dehydrated or like, whatever. You'll get adverse effects because you're not giving your body what it needs at the time frame that your body's accustomed to getting what it needs. So your hair is kind of the same way. Like, if you know your hair gets dry on day 3, then you probably need to wash it. You probably need to add moisture to it on day 3 or day 2, which actually leads me into my next one is listen to your hair. That means if your hair is, if you are trying to make your hair last a week, right? You say, I want my hair to last 7 days, and you by day 4 your hair is dry. It's dry. It is just dry, right? Your hair's dry. No matter what you do, your hair is dry, and you just haven't figured out a way to make it last longer. Like, your hair is dry. You're not gonna stretch your hair out to the 7th day because you're like, no, girl, you gotta stay in your same position till the wash day on the 7th day. No. What you have to do is you have to reprioritize like a baby, and you have to say, fine. On day 3, I'm gonna re-moisturize you. Fine, I'm not gonna wash my hair every 3 days, but I know by day 3, I need to re-moisturize you because on day 4, you're gonna be dry. So I mean, if that means spritzing it, just slightly steaming it a bit, adding another layer of water, another layer of leave-in, another layer of oil, something on day 3, you need to do that because that's what your hair said you need to do. You don't just ignore it the 7 days because you don't feel like doing none of that stuff even though your hair is dry. No, your hair will get mad at you and retaliate. Your hair is a Scorpio. Your hair will get you back. Your hair will like retaliate. Your hair will seek revenge on you. Like, you can't do that with Scorpio hair. Like, your hair is a Scorpio. I'm telling you, you can't do that. You have to take it. You have to listen to the hair. You have to do what it says. You gotta do it before it asks. Okay, you gotta do it before it asks. I'm just messing, but still, like, you have to do that because hair is talking to you. It's talking to you, kind of like if you have a dog, or you have a baby, or you have a mom, or whatever. If they're telling you something, you gotta do it. If you don't do it, you will get the clap back. Okay. Number 13. Pay attention to ingredients. Now, I started doing this a while ago where I always look at the ingredients on my products. Now, there's certain things I use that don't have the best ingredients. Like, I use Aussie Moist, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, all right? But yes, look at ingredients, and 9 times out of 10, if you cannot pronounce the word of the ingredient, then it's probably not good for your hair. It's not natural, and you want to use natural products at all times. So that's that. But I also want to keep in mind that if something works for your hair and you haven't had any adverse effects to it and your hair likes it, don't feel like you have to switch it up, because that actually leads into another one, and it leads into another retention thing. It leads into another one. Okay, so let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was told sulfate shampoos and silicones are bad for your hair, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, so all right, you know what? I can't use these products anymore. They're gonna make my hair break and stuff. So I gotta do the curly girl method. I did the curly girl method for like 6 months, and I noticed my hair was so hard to detangle because I didn't have a good detangler with good slip that had good ingredients in it. So I was not losing a lot of hair, but like my the hair that I was losing was a lot more than it was when I used to use Aussie Moist. So one day I was like, I ran out of my conditioner one day, and I was thought to myself, man, I'm gonna try Aussie Moist again, because I had watched a video where someone was talking about how great Aussie Moist was, and I was like, Aussie Moist really was great. I don't care, I'm gonna try it again. I tried Aussie Moist after not using it after 6 months, and I was like, oh my gosh, why did I stop using this? This stuff is a miracle worker. My hair is just slippery. Like, oh, my detangling section is so nice. And now it's like, nah, F that. I gotta keep using Aussie Moist. And that's when I knew, like, you can't always listen to other people. You also gotta, like, take things with a grain of salt. And if things work for you, keep doing it. Like, because even though, like, someone says that silicones and all that stuff is bad, for me, my hair likes it. And my hair likes it because it makes my hair silky enough where I can detangle easy without breakage or extra hair falling out or whatever. Because if you use a product that your hair does not easily detangle with, and you cannot detangle your hair easily, you're more likely to break it off. And if you're breaking off hair, you ain't retaining length,